and welcome to the Belfry. We are out on the PJ National Golf Course today. We're talking short game, we're talking chipping, we're talking about loft. What loft should you choose and what are the advantages to choosing less loft? Just before we get started, in the corner of the screen you show the details for my social media accounts. So if you don't already, then please go ahead and follow me on those. So as you can see, I'm just off the back of the third green. I've probably only got about 2 or 3 paces to reach the green, and then I've got some probably getting close to 45, 50 feet. Now, what I tend to see golfers struggle with in this situation is I could almost get this ball close to that flag with any of the clubs in my bag, right from a putter, sand iron, lob wedge, right the way through to maybe a rescue or a 3-wood. Therefore, making a decision on the right club becomes difficult. If you were to put a bunker in the way, suddenly it becomes a lot easier to select the golf club because we really only have one option, and that's the kind of aerial route, so we tend to go in for our more lofty clubs. But when we're faced with this situation, we actually have to choose the golf club. Now, what we're going to talk about in this video is what advantages we get from using a lower lofted club. So in this instance here, I've got an 8 iron, but we can chip with as low as a 7 or a 6 iron. The reason I've got an 8 iron is actually it's running quite a little bit downhill. It's actually pretty quick to that flag. So the first advantage that I tend to see the golfers are going to achieve from using lower lofts is quite simply that we need a much shorter swing to get the golf ball there. If I'm standing here with my most lofted club, a 60-64, I'm going to need to make a much longer swing. So as soon as we start to reduce the amount of loft on our golf club, the length of swing that we need to use is also reduced. So it's going to be much easier for you to execute this shot correctly, make the best contact with the golf ball we can if we're making a shorter swing. You would probably find if you're a golfer out there who struggles with your chipping, it's often contact that you're struggling with. Golfers often don't strike the ball as well as we'd like them to, and if we don't strike the ball as well as we'd like them to, we're really going to struggle with lots of things like trajectory control, direction, distance, all those things that you need to get that ball close. So the first thing would be lower loft means you can make a much shorter swing and you can be therefore a little bit more precise with the contact. The second advantage to using lower loft is that we are intending to hit this ball on a very low flight and allow it to roll. What that means is if I play this shot poorly and let's say I sort of fin the ball and catch the leading edge with the equator, the poor shot there, which is one that rolls along the ground, is actually not that dissimilar to the shot that I was intending to hit. So the result will not be that bad. If I intend to play this with a more lofted club and throw this ball right up in the air, if I catch that a little bit thin, that ball's going to be shooting right off the end of the green. The difference there becomes quite noticeable, and so the resulting shot will be quite different as well. So when we play with lower loft, what it really means is I can afford to hit a non-perfect shot, and the result is actually going to be quite similar to what I intended to do. So there's our second point, is that the poorer shot is often going to be much closely related to the good shot. Now, the last advantage for using a lower lofted golf club is that where I need to land the ball is closer to me. So I have done videos in the past on landing zones, and hopefully you'll be aware of landing zones. Landing zones is basically where that ball needs to land in order for it to finish by the hole. As you can imagine, different clubs, different situations will require a different landing zone. So if we just look at 2 examples, my 8 iron and my lob wedge. With my 8 iron, my landing zone is going to be somewhere around about here. So that's probably only 1, 2, 3, 4.5 paces away from where I'm starting. If I choose my lob wedge, my more lofted club, my landing zone is going to be probably some 65–70% of the way to that flag. So suddenly, where I need to land the ball is much further away. Now, if we're going to hit a good chip shot, we effectively need to have selected the right type of shot, visualize the shot, and get my ball to land in the area that I choose. Quite simply, if that area that I choose is much closer to me, my success rate of landing it in there is going to go higher. So really, quite a few advantages to using lower loft. I would suggest always you will use lower loft if you are a higher handicap golfer. So if your handicap is maybe high 20s into the 30s, you're a newer golfer to the game, where possible, use lower loft. If we look at the best golfers in the world, the European Tour, the PJ Tour, the LPGA Tour, we often see them using a little bit more loft and using a little bit more spin to stop the ball flying the ball a little bit further, but they have huge amounts more skill than we do, unfortunately. As you develop as a golfer and your skill level increases, you may well have the option to use a little bit more loft. But I would suggest if you're a golfer out there who struggles with your short game, lower loft is going to be much more advantageous to you. Right, let me go ahead and hit this one. I've got an 8-iron. As I say, I only need to land this ball just on the green, really, maybe some 4.5 paces. You'll see that there's quite a bit of break from right to left, but let's see how we get on. Okay, so that's going to break round to the left and it's going to roll down the hill. And certainly from where I was, I'd be extremely happy with that. You can see that the ball only landed 4.5 paces on the green, exactly where I needed it to. You can see just how short my golf swing had to be, and you can see how low the flight was. Now from here, for me, that was always going to be the safest option and therefore the best option. So next time you're around the green, you're chipping, try and use lower loft. I think you're going to find it's going to be a lot easier to get the ball close. Ultimately, that's going to help you knock that putt in, save a few more pars, and lower the scores during your round of golf. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that's helpful to you. Stuff that you can take practically to the course the next time you play. All the usual stuff is down below the video. There's a comments box there, there's a like button, and there's also a link to subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. It's absolutely free to do so. There's loads more videos going up weekly, and there's already loads of videos on my channel, so go and check them out if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you back here again soon.